All right. It's Jared here from Crypto Plan, and we are going to talk about Cake on the USD, calculated by TradingView, the Binance chart. We've been waiting for a breakout. We may have the breakout. I want to talk you through where my head's been at for the last while this thing has been doing its thing. And to just give you a little bit of instruction about how I play these breakouts, because I know that some people are interested in the TA. I want to share my thoughts on what I would do looking at this chart, how I would have played this if I had, let's say, $2,000 to put into a crypto over the last kind of month or so. And I was just choosing this one. So let's get into it. Like and subscribe to the video. And yeah, let's get going. After finding Hathor Networks and doing so well in it, I was on the hunt for other coins that were recently listed on my exchange that I thought were going to have a pop or were going to break out. So I was constantly looking at the new coins that were listed on my exchange, which is Coinspot in Australia. Link in the description if you are in Australia and you want $10 worth of free Bitcoin. So Cake came up and it looked exactly like Hathor, and I was like, oh my god, this could be the one. So I basically straight away jumped into it. Anyway, and originally my line was something like that, I guess, thinking that that was the breakout there in this move. But anyway, we tested up, kind of redrew the line, and then kind of found this to be my new kind of downtrend resistance line, right? So I had accumulated, I guess, some in here. It dipped down. I wish I had have waited because there was a Bitcoin correction here, which I could have got it super cheap. But anyway, I think, the long story short, I've been accumulating around this middle zone of the triangle. Now, I'm not claiming to be a damn perfect trader, but because one, I'm slightly impatient, and two, I guess I'm not a full-time trader, so I'm not sitting here non-stop waiting for these dips with, cash in the bank waiting to kind of buy. I'm a part-time trader who has a full-time job that's just trying to, I guess, maybe become a full-time trader at some point, or at least kind of get out of the rat race a little bit and have a bit more in the bank than I've ever had in my life. So that's where I'm at. So I'm not going to claim that I've done it perfectly. Like I said, I haven't exactly bought these dips, but I'm going to show you how you could have been accumulating all these dips through a series of indicators. And then now what I would do, now it has broken up, to basically get a free ride and make a lot of money at the same time. So we're on the 4-hour chart. I like the 4-hour charts because it just feels like you get the best picture in crypto because it's a 24-hour market. It seems like big moves happen in 4-hour charts. And if we go back to the daily, you can kind of see, there's still the right picture there, but I can't see as much information on the daily chart. I can't see what's going on as much, but you could still trade off the daily. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to go back to the 4-hourly chart. Actually, I'll go back to the daily for 1 second. So once I kind of looked a bit closer at the Hathor chart, I realized that the Hathor move took about 37 days. So I had this kind of indicator on there, and look what's happened. It's kind of breaking out, with a day to go in that 37-day period. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not going to call that a sign or, wow, I knew that, or that always happens. I'm just saying it's very interesting at this time in the bull market that these flags are playing out this way. So this is, if the flagpole was coming into this move, and we'll have to go over to charts.cointrader pro to see that, but the flag came into this move, and then generally it flies out of the move in the same direction it came in. So 37 days of a correction, a consolidation. So big move to the upside, pullback, accumulation zone, and then gradually flying out of there. Once this thing gets to $19, $20, it's going to fly, because then there's no overhead resistance, right? So I've talked about that before. So anyway, going back to the 4-hourly chart, just to show you some key things that I would be doing. So let's say the first time I saw this was here and I couldn't predict that Bitcoin correction. So I bought in at 11. Great. I make a first position of say 200 US dollars worth. And that's my initial position. And that's a pretty good position because look at the stock RSI down here. It's quite low and there's a little turning point. So you could have been tricked into thinking, yeah, that's going to go up there and go up a little bit more, right? It didn't. It dipped down. And Bitcoin gave us another opportunity. So once again, if I had cash on the sides, maybe I would kind of add heavily. But at that point, you're also fearful because you're like, well, I didn't expect this. So not everyone's willing to kind of pile fully in. Now, if you could put your full $2,000 in at that point and just sit back and wait, you were always up, right? But we're not claiming that we're perfect traders. So we bought at 211. We go see that dip. Are we going to stick to our plan and just put another 200 in? Are we going to go heavy and go, this is a great bargain? I'm going to buy 500 US dollars worth, let's say. So we spent $700 worth of our money. Goes up, kind of goes sideways. Then it's about to fly on out of there. Now, you could be tricked into thinking this is a breakout. So there would also be nothing wrong with buying the breakout if you believed it was going to break out. If this was your initial entry and you thought that you were playing this breakout, you buy this breakout and you might set a stop loss down here and sell out again. And then when this move happens here, but let's just say we thought the breakout was going to happen because when we're talking, and I'll go into a little bit more detail later, we might be wanting to pyramid into this trade. So we could potentially have added a little bit here when this turnaround comes and this action comes in here at 12.50 or something going, I think the breakout's going to happen. I'll add a bit more because I want to get it at these lower prices before it pushes to the upside. Anyway, it goes up, turns back on itself and you go, great. Now I'm at my 900 mark, maybe 1,000. So and then it gets a bit bearish. It kind of comes down, hovers along this line for a long time. Now, there is, you have every right here to kind of go, do you know what? I've got a position. I'm just going to wait it out and wait till it flies on out of there. But you've also had here from the 16th of March all the way to the 21st of March, a long time to decide and just accumulate. You could have nibbled away at it all the way along here. It could just be nibbling away at it, just adding a little bit, going, do you know what, it hasn't broken out yet, I'll add a bit more. A payday comes, you add a little bit more. So there's nothing wrong there. And once again, looking down at the stock, you've got a really good signal here that it's a buy. It's down low, so, at $10 there, goes up again, the stock's up, and then it kind of dips down again, another kind of signal to buy. So if only you just added every time the stock was kind of getting down there to the lower edge of the range, 100, 200 kind of thing, keep adding, chipping away at it. And then kind of sitting back here, oh, it's making a move. It breaks out. Once again, there would be no problem of thinking that this was the breakout and adding a little bit more here at 12. Once again, it's around your cost basis, so you add a bit more just in case it flies to the upside. But then luckily enough, we get one more opportunity again. And this, this nice bottoming pattern in the stock RSI says here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. So it's kind of broken out, retested that kind of comfortable $11.5, $12 level before flying on out of there, right? And you can see what's happened since 26th of March. We've had like 10%, 3%, 4% candles, so we've had some good movement going back to the daily. We've had a good kind of 70% run since the 21st of March there, which is nice and solid. So if you did kind of grab a good chunk again there, you're fairly happy. So that would have been my trading plan. Now, the last bit of that trading plan is getting up here right now. Would you buy in right now? You've got a nice cost basis down here. Would you buy in right now or would you just sit back and enjoy the ride? Well, let's just say we've put in our 2,000 US dollars in this area, and we haven't really bought anything above $12.5, right? So our cost basis is pretty good, but our cost basis might be down here in the tens, considering we bought a big chunk at 8. You can sit there and go, I've got my $2,000 worth. It's at a good cost base. I'm just going to let this thing fly. Now, there's this other idea where you could say, do you know what? I'm kind of predicting that this thing's going to go up to 46. So I think it's going to do a 3x. So I might go, well, I'm going to add another 1,000 into it right now. It's my biggest addition to it. But I'm so confident that if I add 1,000, or maybe you might have done it back here, you know, because you feel like that was confirmation of the breakout, and you go, I'm going to add another 1,000 worth, because that's the piece that I'm going to sell at this target and then have my original 2,000 worth to ride cash-free, risk-free, right? Because you put 1,000 in here, it goes to a 3x, you take your 3,000 out, and then you've still got your original 2,000 worth, which is at a lower cost basis, which is now, you know, 5 or 6x on it, right? So that's, you know, that's the kind of way I would pyramid into it if I had, you know, lots of cash sitting on the side, sitting and playing this purely as a one coin trade, you know, as a trader that sees this breakout as a solid breakout of trading. Now, that's not me. I'm not saying I have anywhere near that amount of money in there. I only have probably about, you know, just over 1,000 Australian dollars in this coin, whatever that is in tokens, under 70 or something like that. So by no means is this trade for me going to be life-changing, but that's the kind of principle that has happened that I would play if I was trading this particular project. So for me, like I say, I'm pretty happy. I've got a cost basis of about, let's say, 12, maybe 11 and a half, by nibbling it away through this period and having a lot of time to nibble away at it. And then, you know, basically if it reaches my next target of 45 plus, then that is 3 or 4 times my money. I make a decision then. So I'm going to say, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to roll it back into a Dash or an XRP or an EOS if they haven't moved yet? Or am I just going to let that one ride all the way to the end? So that's when I'll make decisions. And, you know, other people choose to stake, other people choose to do other things. But for me, I'm a trader. I'm trying to accumulate positions, have them run a fair bit, and then take some profits, you know, leave some risk-free, and then take some money to do the next trade, you know, whether it be in crypto or in precious metals or whatever. So for me, that's cake. I think there's a decent amount of confirmation, and we'll go back to the daily to say that that is a breakout, you know, like, so we've broken out of our range or our flag, started a new candle out of that flag and gone to the upside. So confirmation of the breakout, and then just waiting for that 19 mark, you know, where, like I say, if you are into pyramiding and just kind of squeezing the last bit out of it, you know, whatever you put in there is going to run very quickly. So, you know, you could put that last bit in, set your stops, nice and tight, and then just go, let's see this thing run, and then, you know, trade some out to kind of go risk free, and then see what happens. So that was a kind of nice and detailed video, hopefully about how you can play these accumulation periods, you know, and not get washed out by this movement of like, I've got a big position somewhere here and I just want it to go up. Just stepping back a bit and going, well, actually what I've got is more time while this thing consolidates and accumulates energy to fire off again to actually add more to my positions. You know, there's probably, you know, if you're getting paid weekly, there's 3 or 4 paydays in there where you could have, you know, chipped away at it at any given point. Just going to add a little quick market update for my purple list. One Harmony is still, it kind of faked out of our range there. I'm going to drag that range out a bit more just because we're still technically in it. So still, you know, we're still, once again, we're bull flagging through there, if you can say it, like little pole there, flag here. So one is still accumulating. It's still, you know, if you're not in it, once again, good time to be chipping away at it while it's in this kind of this range here. You know, if it ever goes back anywhere towards the 15-cent mark, you know, they're good entry points. Game, a lot of people were kind of freaked out about Game there for a while. You know, it pulled back a lot. Just got to remember this thing, and I'll actually get my proper price range tool. So this thing was in a zone, right? And for me, it was 15.5 cents was a breakout of a range, right? So it broke out of that range, and what did it offer us? It offered us 282%. Now, you're kind of blind, and you're probably being a little bit ignorant to markets in general if you don't think that something is going to pull back after running 280% pretty much in a straight line. So when things run that hard, they're always going to correct, right? So and they correct by about this much. 50% is quite normal, you know. A 50% correction is quite normal. So if you ever see something running up that hard and you're like 57, you know, it's moved from 15 cents to 57 cents, you know, and you've just FOMO'd in, don't be afraid. Just buy more when it corrects 50% because it's probably going to. This is quite normal, you know, big run of price. People are going to take profits, you know. And if you talk about that principle that I'm talking about earlier, that pyramiding, a lot of people do that. So these prices break out. People quickly add to their positions because they're all trying to pyramid in, which pushes the price up. It overextends for the move it actually should be doing. Runs all the way up here, and then people go, great, it's hit somewhere around my target. I'm going to take some of my risk off and let this trade run now. So then, therefore, these 50% sell-off periods now. So now you know, oh great, I FOMO'd in. I can buy back down here at, you know, 50% discount, so I can add to my position here. Then it goes up again. So if you've added some here and some there, your cost base is now here, and then it's gone up over your cost base and come back again, and maybe you might be adding a third position right here, which is now kind of our middle zone of this kind of retracement, right? It may go back down again here again. This may be the new range for game for a while, but like I've said in my other videos, the further sideways it goes, the next move is more aggressive. You know, it's a larger gain. You know, if it was to go straight up here, it would probably hit our dollar range and go sideways for a while before it kind of gets up to our 190 range. If we're following, you know, this particular kind of triangle that I'm drawing out here from all the way back from March, where the price said, you know, that was a ceiling for me. That was the angle of ascent I wanted to go on. And then now this is the floor angle of ascent that it wants to go on. So I've got this kind of, you know, June timeframe target for 190 for game credits. So that's where we're at with game. Reef, still playing the game, still playing accumulation. Some people are telling me that this thing is head and shouldersing. I don't see it. I'm not seeing that at all, really. But you know, this is the beautiful thing about charts, is that some people see different things, and I can see a little bit of a head and shoulders here, I guess. But like being in a bull market, I don't see the need to be looking for these kind of structures yet. Definitely look for them in Bitcoin to definitely see a top in Bitcoin. I think this sort of structure where Bitcoin will reach, you know, at some point it might reach 65K, pull back, then go to 80K, pull back, and then try and hit 65K again and get knocked back. Then you're like, oh, this thing is over. That's when I'd be using head and shoulders. But in something like Reef, you know, calling this a head and shoulders is not really something that I'd be seeing. If this was a shoulder and then the head was up here and then the shoulder was the same here, maybe. But the fact that it kind of did correct so heavily, kind of came up, and you got to remember somewhere around here there's been FUD that's been flying around, and whether you believe it or not or whatever, but there was a tax or whatever. So this thing has stalled a bit. The bullishness of it has stalled. So yeah, what I really see is that this is a range of 6 cents is the ceiling, and that 2.5 cents is the floor. So it will accumulate in this range until it decides not to. And that's just the way I see it. I also have these kind of lines drawn now, and you can see it tried to break it. So I feel like the angle of ascent is going to follow that and use this for support, but I could be wrong. I'm not an expert, but I do know that when these things have come into this consolidation period to the upside, from the bottom to the up, If they've come from below up and then they go sideways, generally in a bull market, these things are going to play out to the upside. So just be thinking that, you know, if we were in a bear market, or this thing had come down in this way and then goes sideways, and I'm sitting here going, I expect it to go up and this was a bottoming pattern, then no, I'm talking absolute nonsense. You know, if it's come in this way, goes sideways, and then you'd expect it to go down, you know. So that's kind of a chart rule, you know, definitely can be broken, but you've got to remember that this is one of many tokens in a bull run in an asset class. To say that this would do the complete opposite of everything else at the moment, which is go up, which is not go up, then you would be kind of really being extremely contrarian right now. And I'm not saying it can't happen, I'm just saying that most ships rise with the tide, right? Most ships ride with the tide, unless they've got a hole in them. Anyway, and finally, Band. People have been asking me to do a detailed video on Band. Once again, it's not that dissimilar to Reef. You know, I'm calling it a cup and handle. It reached an all-time high. It has come around, tried to break out of that all-time high again, and now there's a little bit of a pullback from that all-time high. Probably a little bit more bullish than Reef, but I don't have a huge position in Band. It was just I was looking for something. You know, I got a bit bored and I was looking for something to trade, and I found Band. And why not? Why not? The chart is bullish. You know, the chart on this thing is bullish. You know, accumulation period, once it broke out to new all-time highs there, it flew. I'm hoping that again. I'm hoping that measured move is going to give us this $75 price target in a very short time when it breaks out, and that could be any day from now. So why not? Once again, I am looking in Reef and in Band for an increase in volume. That would be a bullish indicator for me. So Reef and Band increase in volume. So there's not really showing me much in the ways of like volume spikes. Like here was the fake out. So we want to see another one of these events where there's kind of big spikes in volume, or at least an increase in volume in either one of these assets. You know, same with Band. We want to see some of these chunky volume candles start to appear for them for us to kind of switch our eyes on again and go, ooh, maybe it's time to pyramid into the last bit of the trade. Anyway, that's been that. This has been a longer than usual video, but I had lots I wanted to update. Yeah, people are kind of now thinking about the end of the alt season and what to do and when it's going to happen. So I've been answering a lot of those questions in the comments, but look, I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we're in a sideways period in all of the markets. You can see the total crypto market all-time high, pulled back, been flirting around that all-time high again. There's every chance that there's going to be a double test of the breakout of all-time highs. So if we just kind of draw these in, there's a lot of other chartists that are doing this. So this is the old all-time high, came back and tested it, came back and testing its new all-time high. Every chance that it will pull back. So this will be the event when Bitcoin does a big correction, which everyone's expecting. But the beautiful thing is that when this pulls back, it doesn't mean every individual altcoin is necessarily going to pull back. This could trigger the sell-off in Bitcoin that is triggering. Sorry, this is the total 2. This is the one. This is the one. So when this chart kind of double tests its all-time high, which it did do already twice. So sorry, I'm going to start that again. When this chart dips down here doesn't necessarily mean that this particular chart dips down here, but this chart here, which is the everything but Bitcoin chart, has every right to dip down, which could mean a scary event in Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, any of the ones that have pushed up a lot recently. We could see a big sell-off in them quickly before everything fires out of there again. So just be keeping an eye on these kind of indicator charts to see what's going on. But yeah, like I said in my rant video, we're bullish. Bitcoin's bullish. Go into that monthly chart again. yeah, we haven't seen a red candle on a monthly for a long time. So yeah, just be aware that there's still another event that could possibly happen, but you think in the scheme of things, if you can just close your eyes, even if it's for a full month, there's another leg to go. There's either another leg to go or two legs to go if you're an altcoin, easily. So let's just leave it there, and I'll catch you on the next one. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you around.